Chronicles Church. My name is Kathryn Wilson, and welcome to day 8 of our prayer and fasting. So today, the passage we are going to be in is 1 Chronicles 16, 8 through 11. Before we jump into reading it, I just want to encourage you to see if you can find a time today to read the whole chapter of 1 Chronicles 16. It's a really good chapter, lots of encouragement, lots of examples of how we can connect with God. So that would be my challenge to you today. If it's not right now, find a time that you can sit down and read 1 Chronicles 16. So this chapter is a time when David is celebrating. They finally were able to get the Ark of the Covenant back to Jerusalem. And this was a really big deal for God's people because in the Old Testament, they didn't have the Holy Spirit inside of them. And so the Ark of the Covenant served as God's presence among the people. And they tried to do it before, and people had died. There had been failure. So this is a huge win for David, for the people. And so he is going to just be praising God for this success and for his presence among them. So let's read this passage together. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, call upon his name, make known his deeds among the peoples. Sing to him, sing praises to him, tell of all his wondrous works. Glory in his name. Let the hearts of those who seek the Lord rejoice. Seek the Lord and his strength, seek his presence continually. So this verse is really impactful. It has several different exhortations of things that we should be doing as well. David was telling the people to do all of these things to connect with God, but it's also a good message to us. So it begins by telling us to thank the Lord and call on him and to tell everyone of the things he's done for us. So this is a really good thing to think back in your life and think of things that he's done before. Maybe right now in this season of prayer and fasting, you're asking for something from God. Maybe you're in a trial and there's something difficult going on. In those moments, it can be really helpful and really grounding in your faith to think back on ways that the Lord has been faithful before. So that's what David is reminding us. And then he says, sing to him, sing praises to him, tell of all his wondrous works. So obviously, worship is really important to me and really close to my heart. And I think it's really close to God's heart too. There's so many times in the Bible when he commands us to sing and play instruments. And what a special way that we can connect with God. I think that music touches a lot of people's hearts really in a special way. And I think that might be true of God too. We're made in his image and he asks us to make music for him. And so I wonder if that's a special connection that we can have with him, that's why he tells us to do it, is because he knows that it fosters that bond between us and our Creator. And then he said, glory in his name, let the hearts of those who seek the Lord rejoice. Seek the Lord in his strength, seek his presence continually. So I looked a little bit into this word seek, because obviously he says it 3 times here. It must be really important. And I found a couple of other verses that might be familiar to you. One of them is Jeremiah 29:13. And it says, you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all of your heart. So God is there to be found. He wants to be found by us. He wants to be known by us. We have to take some initiative to read his word, to spend time in prayer, to connect with other people who are like-minded in wanting to know him, so that our lives will be centered around that, and then he can become that important piece of our lives that we want him to be. But it does take some effort. So here at the start of the year, that's a really good reminder for us, is that we have that intention as we go forward, and we want to make our life built around Christ. And then the other one, in a similar vein, James 4:8 says, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. Some translations say draw near to God as he draws near to you. So it's not to say that God won't draw near to you if you don't take the first step. We know that God moves first and he saves first, but if we want to grow closer to him, there's a relational component that he wants us to step into that communion with him. And then the last thing I wanted to point out is that it says, let the hearts of those who seek the Lord rejoice. And the reason we can rejoice is because we know that if we're seeking him, we're going to find him. So there's joy in that. And whatever it is that you're going after this year, whether it's a goal or whether you're praying for something right now, we don't always know that those goals are going to work out, right? But we know that when we seek God, we're going to get God. And so that is really encouraging. So I just want you today to think about that. Find a way to seek him. This verse had a lot of examples of ways that you can seek him. So maybe pick one of those. Maybe make a list of things you're thankful for, like the first verse says, or maybe take some time in worship and singing. There's a lot of different ways in this whole chapter, First Chronicles 16. So maybe go through and read that and choose a few of these ways that you're going to commit today to seeking the Lord. Thank y'all so much for listening, and I hope that you have a great day.